Think of the healthy human body as a perfectly balanced, interconnected mechanical kingdom. Prior to any trauma, every system operates in total homeostasis, a state of seamless, automatic harmony. The foundational loop of this system starts with the lungs. They act as central bellows, constantly drawing in oxygen from the outside world and supplying it directly to the heart. The heart then serves as the central engine. It binds that fresh oxygen to red blood cells and drives them down vast vascular highways, constantly feeding distant, highly active industrial organs like the stomach. Then a massive physical trauma occurs. The outer wall of the vessel is violently ruptured, resulting in a sudden and catastrophic hemorrhage. Blood rapidly spills out of the system. The body's total blood volume and internal pressure plummet immediately, creating a severe, body-wide state of acute oxygen deprivation. With vital resources suddenly vanishing, the interconnected system enters a state of panic. To prevent total collapse, the body urgently needs a unified survival strategy. Up in the brain, the neurological command center detects this massive pressure drop. It reacts with cold, strictly utilitarian logic, determining that it must preserve the core organs at all costs. To do this, the brain deploys its primary defensive strategy, vasoconstriction. This is the rapid, forceful narrowing of the blood vessels. This diagram shows exactly how that defense mechanism works. The brain orders the vascular gates leading down to the extremities and lower organs to slam shut, hoarding all the remaining oxygen and forcing the flow directly up to itself. Down in the chest, the heart feels the lower extremities starving of oxygen, reacting in the exact opposite way. Triggered by a surge of adrenaline, it goes into hyperdrive, determined to push blood down to those dying extremities, beating faster and harder. Mechanically, the result of this conflict is completely disastrous. You have the heart pumping with maximum force directly against the brain's closed vascular gates, creating an unsustainable, destructive pressure spike. The brain's logic of strict quarantine and the heart's drive for total distribution create an inescapable pressure trap. With these two vital organs working against each other, the system begins to tear itself apart from the inside. The physical structural junctions where the heart's forced flow crashes against the brain's constricted gates turn into chaotic battlefields. To stop the physical damage of this collision, platelets and lymphatic cells rush in, frantically building biological barricades to choke the chaotic flow. This panicked defense mechanism traps everything in its path, resulting in massive, stagnant blood clots that permanently block the vascular highways. Because of these blockages and the brain's initial quarantine, distant environments like the stomach are now completely cut off from the main circulation. The stomach quickly falls into ischemia, the localized death of cellular tissue caused by a total, prolonged absence of blood and oxygen. Deprived of oxygenated blood, the stomach cells lose the energy required to maintain their thick inner mucosal walls. Those walls are the only thing protecting the stomach from its own acid. With the barriers failing, highly corrosive digestive enzymes escape their usual bounds, dissolving the surrounding internal tissues, burning through the structural foundations of the abdomen. The organs are no longer a unified system. They have become starving, isolated factions, actively cannibalizing themselves to survive the internal siege. Caught directly in the neutral ground between the brain's locked gates and the heart's relentless pounding are the lungs. The immense high-pressure standoff between the two vital organs triggers a fatal mechanical consequence known as pulmonary edema. Look at this cross-section of the lung's delicate air sacs. Because the heart is pumping so frantically against a closed system, the immense pressure forces blood plasma to back up and seep into these empty chambers. This rising tide of fluid systematically drowns the lungs from the inside out. It completely destroys their ability to gather the external oxygen that the rest of the body is fighting so desperately to secure. Sensing the total collapse of oxygen intake, the brain initiates one final massive neurological override. It sends a violent shock straight down the nervous system to force the heart into cardiac arrest. The heart stops completely, all internal flow ceases, and the physical system finally shuts down. The uncoordinated, contradictory survival mechanisms of the body ultimately destroyed it. It proves a quiet, mechanical truth. In any complex system, the loss of internal connection is just as fatal as the initial wound.